Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome into another episode of UnAnchored Boston. With Bob Lobel, I'm Mike Lynch, and as always, UnAnchored Boston is brought to you by Cold Springs RV, your destination for all things in where? All things camping in Ware, New Hampshire, of course, and the great George Gray at George Gray's Lexington Toyota, 409 Mass Ave in Lexington. We've got one of the greats with us right now, the great Ted Johnson, and as always, Bob Lobel handles the intro, so Bob, take it away.
Number 52 standing in as the linebacker. What is that painting behind you? That is fascinating. Really.
That's a photograph by a very, very famous photographer by the name of Peter Lick, L-I-K. If you ever get a chance to get to his studios, he has a few in the country. They're phenomenal. Beautiful pictures. He's a photographer, though. And so this one's called Ghost.
And I can see why. But why is that? Why is it? What is a picture of? What's the photo?
So there's a lake that connects 4 states out west. Lake Powell. It connects New Mexico, California, Utah, Arizona, and Lake Powell's a gorgeous lake. And in this lake, there's a bunch of caves that look just like this. And this is a picture from one of those caves in Lake Powell. If you ever get a chance to go visit that area, wow. I recommend it. But yeah, Peter Lick, look him up. He's phenomenal photographer. You'll love his pictures, bud.
Okay, well, I'm glad I asked because
you learn so much on this show, Ted. Everyone thinks it's just a football show or a sports show. We're into everything on this show. That's what Lobel and I are all about.
No doubt.
And especially because it's that time of year again. The Bruins are on their way to defending the President's Cup, and they're off to a great start. The Celtics are unbeatable.
In preseason.
Is baseball still play? Is anybody playing baseball these days?
Not around here, Bob. They are in other parts of the country.
So that means if they're not playing around here, they're not playing anywhere.
Gotcha.
Yeah, welcome to us. Welcome to New England.
That's right.
And football is football with Vegas, Buffalo, and Miami coming up for the next 3 weeks. How's that look for you, Ted?
Pretty daunting, Bob. Yeah, it's not looking good right now. And I see that panic button over your right shoulder, and I want to hit that thing because it's time to hit that. It's about as bad as it's been around here for a long time. And I think what is the most discouraging part about the Patriots, story so far is just I don't know how you get this thing going in the right direction. There's not a lot to be hopeful about. And I think that's the most discouraging thing, you guys, is that you're just not seeing any real signs of life or anything to really get hopeful about with this football team.
Well, you got Garoppolo and Jacoby Myers coming up this weekend, so that would be, why can't we get players like that immediately?
You know how many times I said watching the Monday night game with the Raiders when Jacoby's making play.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Bob, say mine. I couldn't help saying that to my girlfriend who was watching with me. How come we can't get players like that? And I think the Jacoby Myers and even Jimmy Garoppolo. It's kind of an intriguing side story that's not a lot of people are talking about. Is that Jimmy Garoppolo could be on this team right now? He was a free agent this year, and we all know that Bill Belichick at least allegedly loved this guy, and so he had a chance to get him, didn't do it, but. Nonetheless, we'll put that to the side. But Jacoby Myers just represented so much of what I think it was cool about this team for so long is that if you worked hard and you pay your dues and you keep your mouth shut, that you get rewarded. And Jacoby wasn't. I mean, and there's different theories on why he wasn't. But he was a hell of a football player for this team and a guy that you would want on your team. He, just the way he worked his way up from being an undrafted. Free agent as a rookie, played quarterback in college, turned himself into a wide receiver and a damn good wide receiver. And he led the team in receptions the 3 years preceding this year, led the team in first down receptions the 3 years preceding this year. And yet, honestly, there's mixed reports, but I don't think he even got close to a serious offer. It's disheartening. Yeah, I mean, those are the guys that you want to keep around. And for whatever reason, my guess is, if I had to guess, it was because Jacoby was a little bit too outspoken for Bill Belichick's taste. And my guess is, too, the offer that was made to him for a contract was probably very, very insulting. And so there really was, really no real, obvious explanation for it. But my guess is it probably has something to do behind the scenes, and probably a petty reason that he's not here. And that's unfortunate because they need players like Jacoby Myers.
So Bill has always been like this, and you can get away with those things when you're winning, but you can't get away with them when you're losing, and especially when you're struggling like they am now. So is Bill's personal feelings finally coming back to haunt him? Guys like Malcolm Butler, you could name a dozen more than we could name.
Absolutely, Mike. And I think that's it's a fascinating story. It's been 4 years since Brady's left, but I was always, when I moved back into the market, about 6 years ago, and I was critical of Bill even when times were good because of these types of decisions, but it really wasn't showing in the wins and loss column, right? But now it is. And when you let Tom Brady go, it really exposed a lot of the inner workings, the philosophies, the ideologies, the methodologies, that whatever you want to call it, that Bill had and the way he thought was really going to be on display and exposed for all of us to see more clearly. Because to no surprise to me, I'll be honest, the losing started happening, and so it makes all of us look a little bit deeper into what's going on here with this operation. And I was just surprised. I just think Bill's, we all know he doesn't lack confidence, and I call it hubris. That was eventually going to maybe bite him in the butt when he let Tom Brady walk. It was really his methods were going to be on display, and I think you can see that they're not working right now. And you're right, Mike. I mean, they're always been there. There's always been these types of kind of stories to talk about, but they never got really addressed because you were winning, and now that you're not, it's kind of amazing how it's turned a little bit right now. A lot of and Bill, we trust people. You don't hear from those people as much anymore these days.
Let me ask you this, since just the three of us are talking, okay?
Yeah, just us three girls here. Go ahead.
Three of us are talking. What happened in the Malcolm Butler situation?
Yeah, I've asked, and I swear, a lot of people, you hear different things.
You hear different things.
I mean, the couple of the stories you hear is that Malcolm, was sick and didn't relay the message to Bill, and that there was confusion on whether he could practice or not. And then, then you heard maybe it's a more personal thing, that something with Malcolm, and and maybe one of his sons on the coaching staff had an issue, and so that was the reason why. Whatever the reason is, it wasn't good enough to sit the kid for the most important game of the season, and that's a decision, Bob, and that's something that you bring up that will always, in my opinion, haunt Bill Belichick. I mean, it would have haunted him even more if he didn't go back the next year and win the whole thing. But that decision is to sit Malcolm, I think, is just a great example of how Bill thinks. And he's always made decisions like that. But in the biggest game, in the biggest moment, when it was clear that you needed Malcolm Butler's services out there, it was a huge, huge story, and rightfully so. Malcolm Butler didn't deserve to have to sit there and watch that game when he was one of the better players on that defense. But it's those types of decisions that he's been making more and more recently that it's amazing to me how people will say, when Tom Brady left, a lot of people would have argued around here that his legacy was cemented, that really Bill Belichick's, legacy was intact and it wasn't going to get tarnished. And it's no matter what happened after Tom left, it would still be the same. And that's not the case at all. I mean, it's clearly when Tom left, there is now a debate on really how good of a coach Bill Belichick is.
Mike and Ted, both of you guys are football guys. And so you can appreciate coaching tactics. Belichick, I think, operates from the basis of fear. He's a fear-based coach.
Correct.
You do things, you're motivated by fear. Well, this is a new day and age. and you called it hubris. To me, it's cachet. The way he treats the press in the press conferences, that's old. People no longer have to sit and listen to his bullshit. They can, somebody's going to talk back to him one of these days and say, Bill, you're not as smart as you think you are. You're not as smart as everybody thought you were.
Mm-hmm.
You started believing your own press clippings, and you made a lot of money here, but you're damaging your reputation, Bill. Your reputation is in danger of going down the drain, as so many people, as so many successful people are. They get to a level of success, and then all of a sudden, see you later.
Yep.
Well, it's almost like he's reached his limit. Lynch, do you agree with this?
I agree. I mean, people they had no choice. They had to roll with it when they were winning. But now that they're not winning, not just 1 year, but 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, people are saying, "Hey, enough of this crap. I don't have to sit here and take this crap anymore."
Right.
It's true. The worms turn for sure, and the Q rating I think for Bill is lower than it's ever been. And you know what it is too, Bob and Mike, is there's enough evidence. It's not like, it's not like it's been trending this way just recently. This has been, year after year after year, you've seen enough evidence to kind of indicate really, truly, what kind of person Bill Belichick is in the good times and the bad. And so I feel like collectively in the, Patriot fans are at that point where it's tiresome, right? I mean, there's a few Bill supporters out there, and a lot of people want to just kind of go, take his power away as a general manager, but he's still a great coach. You're going to have to work hard to convince me that he's still a great coach. He, at one time, yes, he was a phenomenal coach. He was a forward-thinking, progressive, at least when it came from on the defensive side, type of coach. But that was a long time ago, and so it's a different time now. The way he relates to players now, Bob, you're right. He can't connect with the players like he used to. His schemes, his game planning, it doesn't resonate as much anymore because a lot of what separated him as a great defensive mind, everyone's doing now. So there's nothing new and innovative now, at least on that side of the ball. And then you see his philosophies on offense, how outdated they are. Let's have a ball control offense, run the football, and slow the game down and have, a good situational defense. That worked in 2000, in 2001, in 2003, and 2004. It doesn't work now, and he doesn't seem to understand that. And it's amazing to me that you mentioned just his behaviors with the press. You would think that he would change. He has the ability to be.
He needs friends. It's sad. It's really sad.
Yeah.
I mean,
he needs friends to be honest with him too, and tell him, hey, you do. I mean, the word has always been that his close friends get. They love the fact that he has this antagonistic relationship with the media, and that they basically think it's a funny side to his personality, and that they kind of let him know that. And so I don't know if anybody in his inner circle is telling him, hey man, this is playing really poorly to the mat. You're not helping yourself by acting this way. But if he's not going to do it now, he's probably never going to do it. And so this is what it is with Bill. But he has the ability, I think, if he just decides to change and at least give more effort to try and connect with people, I think he could maybe perhaps turn this thing around a little bit. But he's a stubborn guy, and I don't know if I see that happening.
Let me ask you about Ernie Adams. Could Ernie Adams be the guy that could talk to him? A guy that he would listen to? He's been gone now 3 years, I think it is. And obviously, every time, from my knowledge of my time around there, Bill was in the headset, wasn't talking to the offensive defensive coordinators. Everything was to Ernie. Ernie, what do we got? Ernie, what do we got? Ernie, should we go for it? Ernie, what do we got? Yep. And he's gone now. And that's a pretty valuable lifeline that he had.
Huge. It's huge. I mean, I've heard Belichick I've heard him yell on the sideline into his head, everybody shut the F up. Let Ernie talk. I've heard it just standing next to him on the sideline. So when it came to critical decisions, Do I go for it here on fourth down? What do we do here? What kind of play? It was Ernie. And that's a huge kind of crutch, if you will, or just a huge resource that Bill used to have that he doesn't have anymore. And so I think I just think overall, just using Ernie as an example, there's a lot of good quality coaching, advisors, front office people that have left in recent years and that really helped prop Bill up. And, a lot of those guys are gone. Ernie retired because he was, it was the time for him to retire. But a lot of other good quality, front office and coaches left because of Bill's nature and how he does contracts, how he doesn't pay his assistants, how he doesn't give them titles, how he doesn't advance them up through the ranks. And so you're left with maybe a coaching staff and a front office that isn't maybe up to the task either, mostly in part because of Bill and how he treats people.
He's not about to catch Shula. I'll tell you what, all of a sudden that goal seems to be so far away you can't possibly even consider that. When it seemed to be so close a year or two ago, now it just seems almost impossible.
It does, and what a thing! Just like this thing just sitting out there, just kind of hanging over the heads of not only Bill but even Robert Kraft, right, guys?
Yeah.
Because I think that Robert Kraft, I think he wants to attach himself to those types of records and moments, if you will. And so I think Robert Kraft sees it almost as a Patriots accomplishment just as much as a individual Bill Belichick accomplishment. So my guess is that, he wants it just as bad as Bill. But if that's what you're chasing, good luck with that, because I'm not sure the fan base has the patience to.
Well, he might get it, but it might not be here.
And that's another fascinating thing, Bob, because I have thoughts on that. I just can't imagine him going somewhere else at this point and trying to start all over. People will say, yeah, there's teams that are going to be interested in maybe giving him a shot at it. Okay. I can't see Bill. Bill has worked hard to basically have his fingerprints on everything within that organization. I mean, everything is set up with his friends, with his sons, with his people. If you're a Bill guy, you are working there. So he's got this whole infrastructure of support of his people. That's hard to kind of pick up and move somewhere else. I just think, and he doesn't want to move away from this area. So that's a fascinating kind of thing. I think if it doesn't happen here, I can't imagine it happening anywhere else. But even if it did happen here, what would it look like? I mean, is it going to be 2 years from now? And you kind of just stumble across it with little to no fanfare? That's going to go off real good. So that Shula record hanging out there, it might be just one of those albatrosses that Kraft is really struggling with, because he really wants Bill to get to that point, but it's not going to be pretty getting there, and it might take more than just this year and next year. It looks like it could take longer than that, and I'm not sure people have the stomach to see this thing. Hell, some people don't have the stomach to see it, go through to this Sunday, let alone 3 years from now.
Well, wait in 3 weeks and see what it looks like.
I mean, I can't imagine. Look, in 3 weeks, and you're basically saying, which is not far off, Bob, is that you lose to Las Vegas, and then you got Miami and Buffalo. I mean, oh my goodness, 1-7 is on the table, and that's. I'll be honest, guys, I didn't see that. I saw an 8-win team. I really did. I did not think the floor would fall out like it has. 2 beatdowns, historic beatdowns, back to back, the last 2 weeks, really has you thinking that a 5-win, a 4-win season is on the table, and I never would have guessed that. A losing season, a little below 500 season, definitely on the table. You go 1-7, clearly you go 1-5. I think the emotional bandwidth for this team collectively is at an all-time low, and I don't know how you pull yourself out, because they don't have the They don't have the dogs that that they used to have back in the day when we started 0-2 in 2001. We had the dogs. We had players, man. We had great players when we started 0-2 in 2001. So we were able to pull ourselves out of that. And I was 0-2 in 1996 when we went on to go to the Super Bowl. We lost to Green Bay, but we had guys that could overcome those losses because we had players. They don't have the players, and I don't think, more importantly, the absolute most important thing is they do not have buy-in. I don't think these guys believe in Coach Belichick. And
buy-in, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool way of saying things, that he's lost the team.
Let me ask you this, Ted. If you were a linebacker, actually, was that a question, Bob? Has he lost the team?
No, I was just reaffirming what Ted said about buy-in.
All right, so stay with that. My question is not as important as what you have to say. Go ahead, Ted.
Oh, the buy-in. I think they're not buying what he's selling. I mean, Lobie's absolutely right. It's clear. It's just, you can see it, you can feel it. I'm a big body language guy. I watch these guys. I can just tell that you can question their people. You got to be tricky about questioning guys' effort, but I don't look like. It doesn't look like to me that they are playing together, that they are pulling in the same direction, that they are buying in to what Bill is selling. And that's the whole thing. If you're going to deal with Bill Belichick, the curmudgeon, the antisocial, the guy who lacks the interpersonal relationship skills, you better win. And you better tell me how we're going to win and map it out and game plan it and scout, and then go out and execute it on the game and make good in-game decisions and all these things that got us to buy in early in his tenure here. We bought in to what Bill was selling because he saw the game in a way that no coach I'd ever been around had seen it. And so we're like, we'll deal with the, Bill the person if Bill the coach is getting us prepared and making us play at our best, and then when the game comes, making good decisions that help us win football games. We'll take Bill the person. Right now, his coaching is not good enough right now to overcome how he is from an interpersonal relationship standpoint. And so the buy-in clearly to me looks like it's not there. And if you're not buying what Bill's selling, this is what it looks like, you guys.
Speaking of body language, one image from that game stood out to me was when Mac was on the bench, but in the forefront, Bill O'Brien and Bill Belichick were standing talking to each other, and they looked like they were at the end of their rope. And that if you could put little captions over their heads, you could say, "What the F are we supposed to do now? Holy crap!" And to me, that image right there kind of said it all.
Don't you guys think it feels like, and I even think that Belichick's comments post game about starting over, it's like he used that term, and it's been a term that we've been talking about all week, is they're starting over. It felt like he didn't know what else to say. Like He was just trying to get through. We're going to start over. Right. Well, what does that mean?
Right.
I don't really know.
No, I agree, totally agree.
Right.
Totally agree.
And so what you're saying there, Mike, is that description on the sideline. I see more and more kind of behaviors like that you're talking about, and then his things he says in some of these press conferences. I don't think he knows what to do. And for Bill Belichick, he's had an answer for everything. And it's only he doesn't have an answer to anything that is going on right now from a defensive standpoint. From an offensive standpoint, his precious, special teams unit is dead last in DVOA in the NFL. And he doesn't have the buy-in. He doesn't have the leadership. He doesn't have the, at least a stable quarterback play. So it looks to me, it sounds like to me that he doesn't know what to do. And I just think that's kind of fascinating to watch, because never, ever have I seen him look so lost for answers than he is right now.
Well, that's the sad thing, because when you talk about interpersonal relationships, he is capable of interpersonal. We know that. We know he's capable. Everybody says, well, he's got that other side. John Bon Jovi is a perfect example. He's got that whole other side, interpersonal. And that's the sad thing, that he could do it if he wanted to. But I want to ask you this question. Lynch, I'm asking you as well. What do you think Belichick would say if he were watching this now, which we know he's not? But what if he what if he listened to this?
Eyes out there.
What if he listened to this and heard us talking about this? What do you think his reaction would be? Show me that. Right.
That's what it would be. I think Mike's right. Like, what do we know? And it's Bill's. Let's face it. You be a coach your whole life. It's gonna stunt your emotional growth a little bit. Like he's kind of petty and he's vindictive, and that's the way he is. It's hard for him to critically, kind of look inward, I think, and that's just kind of who he is. But to Lobie's point, it's he can choose to be a good guy when he, I've had interactions with him where him and I were, it was F you, and and I basically challenged him to cut me, and I told him to, and I said, Bill, this isn't working out. We got to do something here, and he couldn't because of restraints put on him by the owner. The owner didn't want me to go, so I wasn't going. So he had to figure it out with me. So the point is, he had to eventually, in 2002, when we started off on a really bad foot in the summer of 2002, by the middle of the season, he comes up to me and he basically it leaves himself vulnerable, and he says, Ted, we got to talk this out. We got to figure this out. Look, I thought you had a good game. I need you on board. What are we going to do? And it was the most human I've ever seen him. Like, he just showed a side to himself that he had never shown to me. And I said to him right there, because he did that in the weight room. I'll never forget. He walks in, he sees me, he knows that him and I, we're not doing good. And I was emotionally not invested in that team for a certain period of time there to start the 2002 season. He comes up, he says these things to me. I said, Bill, you're not going to have a problem with me ever again. And I played 2.5 more years. I was a captain the following year. And so he got me back on board just by using some words of affirmation, by being human, by deciding to connect with me and not having his wall up. And that allowed us to go on and have a successful, relationship for the last 2 years of my career. So he has it in him, to Bob's point. If he wants to, he's choosing not to. Particularly when it comes to Mac, and you can go back and you can reference what happened in the season last year, which was reported at the end of last year, which was a phenomenal story to me, that probably is what fractured the relationship to a point in which Bill cannot ever forgive the kid for doing this, is my opinion. And there's just some reports about maybe this incident being the reason Bill is having a hard time working with Mac, and that is that Mac went and sought advice to the Alabama coaches last year, that he was having issues with the offense, clearly with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge running the offense, and he needed help. And so he consulted with his former college coaches to get their input. And then Bill finds out about that. In my opinion, that's you. You're going behind my back to ask college coaches how to help this operation. When that story broke, I said, that's the end of the Mac and Bill Belichick kind of story right there. That's what I think is really holding Bill back from really. He just can't find it in him to bury the hatchet. What happened in the past, make it something that's won't affect their the relationship in the present and in the future. I think that's kind of is what's gnawing at Bill, and he can't get over that.
You know what? This is like a psychological study. You're trying to take this guy apart. Say, okay, he's an only child, son of a coach. Both you guys. I mean, in a football family, you know how important coaches were as a father relationship in your families. You know how, that it's a whole psychological profile. And I know his relationship with Steve, his father, was really close. There's just a lot of stuff, and you just kind of peel away the onion and try to take a look at it. But to me, it's fascinating. I need to just pay a few bills here, but I have a very big question for you, Ted.
Okay.
Mike says right after this reminder for campers. Did you ever do any camping, Ted?
Not a big camper, and I was raised by a single mom. I like 5-star hotels. I'm not
okay. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I go back and forth when when I can't afford a 5-star hotel. I'll get a camper.
I got you.
All right, the new 2424s are in. Cold Springs RV has next year's 2024 models. Right now, they're arriving daily. Go check out the latest in pop-ups. You got to get there now while the fall is still in full bloom, because, when December and January come, you're not going to want to go there. So now's the time to go. Check it out. Travel trailers, fifth wheelers, and motorhomes. Tell them Lobel and Lynchy sent you. We'd really appreciate it. It would help us out a lot. Cold Springs RV, the doors are always open, and you can freely browse, go around, check the latest in camping gear. You might like it, Ted. You really might like it. Get to Cold Springs RV, your destination for all things camping, or learn more online, coldspringsrv.com. That's in Ware, New Hampshire, which is in west of Manchester, north of Haverhill, coldspringsrv.com. And now the question of the week from Mike Lynch. This is one of our favorite parts of the show, actually.
Okay, well, you remember John Madden wouldn't fly, so they had a Madden cruiser. We're trying to get Cold Springs RV to build a Lobel cruiser to have him drive around.
Yeah.
So we're going to, when it's finally built, we're going to lend the Lobel cruiser to our guests. So Ted Johnson, we would lend you the Lobel cruiser to drive cross country from here to California, but you have to take one person, living, dead, sports figure, historical figure, whatever, anybody you want to ride shotgun with you all the way across country. A guy you think you could have a fascinating conversation with, get some answers before. Who would it be? Who would be riding shotgun with you across country?
Oh, man. Oh, great question. Who would I? Boy. All right.
I know it wouldn't be Belichick, because he'd be throwing you out the window at the first.
Yeah. That's a good question. I'm always fascinated. You know what? I have a weird kind of thing. I've always wanted to be an actor. I can't act for anything, but so I'm always fascinated with actors in that world. And he's a Texan, and I'm a kind of a Texan. In my heart of hearts, it's where my dad resides. I spent most of my childhood growing up. This might sound weird because a lot of people think he's a weirdo, but I could hang out with Matthew McConaughey. That would be my guy. He lives in Austin, Texas. Yeah, and so I met Matt one time at a bar at the Ritz many years ago in downtown Boston, and we had a good conversation. He attends most of all the University of Texas football games, and I was in a very kind of famous football game when I played at Colorado. And he was at the game and on the sideline, in which we won on a last-second field goal my senior year. And so we had a good interaction there. I think it might be Matthew McConaughey. I'd say there's just some I can get down with that guy, and so I think he would be a fun guy. Now he might be full of shit and a lot of his stuff, but he thinks on a level. He thinks in ways that I can kind of get down with. So I'd probably say I think I'd have fun with Mr. All right, Matthew McConaughey. That would be my guy.
That's a great answer. He's always on. They always have him on at least once a year on game day. Yep. And he's awesome when he's on there because he knows college football. He's not just reading a script that somebody wrote for him. And he's out in the field before the Texas-Oklahoma game the other day and talking with the head coach, Sarkisian. And he's a likable guy. I think that's a great choice.
And
Is that
so
a favorite role for him, Ted? Do you know any favorite roles that you've seen him in?
so Bob, I went up to him and I just commented and really thought he did a phenomenal job and told him as much in the role of We Are Marshall when he was the head football. He played the head football coach of who took over for the Marshall University football team after the plane crash that killed all the entire the whole team except for a few guys and their coaching staff. And he's been in so many great movies and had so many great roles, but there was something about that role. He won me over with how he did in that role, and so I told him that, and he appreciated that. But I thought that was one of the better roles he's had, is just playing that coach that had to take over for a university that was heartbroken after such a tragic event.
I went to your dad's barbecue place, one of the Super Bowls. It's off the beaten path.
We all did. We all did that trip.
We all thought we had an exclusive, but we all went there, and we got one of the best meals I ever had. I said, okay, let's go in there, let's make some shots, let's talk to your dad, and we gotta hightail it back to 11 o'clock news. Well, we wound up doing the 11 o'clock news from there because we kept eating and eating and eating more cornbread, more ribs, and it was spectacular. It was awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Mike and Bob. Yeah, no, those senior, they had that barbecue restaurant for 35 years. They sold it a few years ago, but the Rib Tickler was the name of it. And the people,
that's right.
Yep, and the people of Tomball, Texas, a town not far from Houston. It's without traffic, it's not that far. But and the people of Tomball treated my family so great. It's still there. It's owned by a young couple who kept the name and most of the recipes. So even though you won't see my dad, he pretty much has a free reign to go in and out if he wants anytime. But they sold that to a great young family who's doing a terrific job with it. But I appreciate you bringing that up. My dad absolutely loved hosting you guys. When we played the Super Bowl there in 2003, 2004 season against the Carolina Panthers. My dad, AKA also, senior, because I'm a junior, we're, same name. He got a lot of business from that. So he appreciated y'all's support definitely for sure.
I'll never forget that Super Bowl.
We were driving for an hour and a half. At some point, we were still in Houston.
Right. It's Houston is the biggest city you will ever. It's the cement jungle, and there's traffic everywhere, and you will be driving in Houston. Before you get out of the city limits, it will take you a long time, Mike.
All right, 72-3 was the score of the last two games that this quarterback presided over and this coach presided over. I'd say your natural reaction is to change the quarterback, but what are you going to do? I mean, what difference would it make?
It doesn't seem like that much, right, Bob? Because, you've seen Zappe come in mop-up duty, and he hasn't done a very good job, at all. So, and here's a kid that you put on waivers that you basically told the world that you didn't want. And so, it's like you can go with Bailey Zappe if you want and start him, but it feels like you've almost shot his confidence too. I mean, it doesn't seem like he's playing with any real confidence either, and it doesn't look like much better when he gets in there. Yeah, here's how I look at the quarterback. If they were to go to Bailey Zappe, I just think, considering what's already happened to Bailey Zappe, meaning he was already released, and I feel like, and maybe you guys feel differently, but like when you saw Bailey Zappe come into these games in relief for Mac the last two games, were you excited to see him? I wasn't, because I thought, well, they don't really want him out there anyway. So, if however he plays, it doesn't feel like he's going to be their guy anyway. So what's the point? And I guess I just feel like if you take Mac out now and you don't start him now, then I think if you put Mac back in, eventually everyone's going to look at Mac like we do with Bailey now, which is, well, you don't want him anyway. So why are you putting him back out there? I think you got to love the one you're with. I really do. I think Matt's got a
It's a good song. That's a pretty good song title.
Yeah, you do. And so you got to love the one you're with, buddy. And to me, Mac's he's got to win his team over. He's lost. Let's face it. I think he's lost the coaches, but I'm starting to think he's losing his teammates. And it's just like in the movie Gladiator. You win the crowd, you win your freedom. You got to win your teammates over. Mac's got to get his teammates back on board. And it's how he approaches practice this week. And he practice. He's got to not turn the ball over, but his attitude has got to change a little bit. I'd like to hear him be a little bit more accountable in his post game, fall on the sword a little bit more, show that it's that you are really trying to do more to get yourself ready, as opposed to using we got to play better. The team's got to do this. The team's got to do this. I like a little bit when it's going bad, a little bit more I. When things are going good, I want to hear team. When things are going bad, I want to hear a little bit more I from the quarterback position. And he's got to get these guys back on his side if he's going to have a chance, because if guys aren't playing hard for Mac, it's going to show. And I think you can look at it. There might be evidence in the offensive line's effort, maybe in some of the receivers' effort, that I wonder if they're playing, if they're fighting and scratching and clawing as hard as they can for their quarterback. I question that, guys. I really do.
Let me ask you this: in the linebacker room, you're the linebacker coach of an opposing team playing the Patriots. Do you see a guy who telegraphs everything? Do you see a guy who has fear in his eyes? Do you see a guy who has no mobility and a guy who doesn't protect the football? What do you tell your linebackers when you're playing against Mac Jones this week?
Get him early, Mike. We're going to get him early. We're going to get him early. We're going to get him. We're going to speed up his body clock. We are going to pressure the hell out of him. We're going to be sending A-gap blitzes. We're going to be doing stunts to get up through the A-gap. We're going to get him off the spot early. We're not going to sit back and see how they do and play conservative. You're going to attack. And you're going to get his body clock sped up, because he has a very difficult time slowing it down once it's been sped up, right? And so once he feels pressure early in the game, you've seen it numerous times in the last two games, the Jets games, the Dallas game, the Saints game. Pressure gets to him early, then he pretty much can't calm it down the rest of the way. And so I would, it was this for a defense. I got to be honest. This is, you love playing a team like the Patriots right now. You can just tell the buy-in's very low. The quarterback's got a crisis of confidence. His inability to make plays off script, we can see it. It's terrible. And so everything's got to be just perfect for him to execute. And so we're going to mess up that execution. We're going to get up on the wide receivers, and we're going to jam them at the line so that they don't no quick reads for the quarterback. And we're just going to pressure right up the middle. And teams are playing man-to-man coverage against him because the wide receivers can't beat man-to-man. And they are forcing the ball to go outside the numbers. And Mac, he doesn't have a good enough arm, you guys, to throw consistently outside the numbers. And the coverages these teams are playing with man-to-man, single high safety, and they have sometimes a rat in the middle of the field to take away crossers. So Mac's got nowhere to go with the ball quick. That's the formula. And teams know the script now.
Why aren't you coaching?
Huh?
Why are you not coaching?
Oh, dude, Bob, are you kidding me? Have you seen how those coaches? It doesn't fit my lifestyle needs. I don't do well with stress and the grind, and I got all the answers sitting here in my ivory tower, but it'd be a lot harder to probably do it. But you know what? If Boston College called for a linebackers coach, I could do it. As long as I didn't have to move. My kids live here. I just don't want to get fired every 3 years and have to live some nomadic lifestyle. So. Coaching, unfortunately, requires you to do that if you want to, stay in it for a long time.
Let me ask you this. After the Patriots beat the Jets, that was just survival of the least bad quarterback. You felt as bad for Zach Wilson as you did for Mac Jones. Right now, would you trade Mac Jones?
Don't ask this question. Don't ask this question.
Huh?
I'm just kidding.
Would you trade Mac Jones for Zach Wilson straight up?
Right
now.
Boy, That's a good question because they're both so flawed, Mike.
Yeah.
If you were to ask me before the season, I would say no way. But you see what Zach, you see what he did against the 49ers. You see what he did last week. You go, okay.
Yeah.
They both have attitude problems, but I will say I probably have to go with the guy with the more physical talent. Even though he can make some horrible decisions and tries to do too much, that being Zach Wilson, it just looks like there's more upside. And I think I've seen enough from Mac to know kind of what he is. And so this isn't an easy question, but I probably at the end of the day, right now that you're asking me, Mike, I probably have to go roll with Zach Wilson. Just because from an emotional standpoint, I think he's done a halfway decent job of handling how he's been playing, how people look at him. And he's starting to come around. You give him a little confidence and you're starting to see him play better. So I might have to lean on the Zach Wilson before back. And I never thought I would have said that before the season started.
I know.
Ted, how important do you think Belichick's reputation is to him? His reputation is in mortal danger right now. How important is his reputation to him? I know the Shula thing's one thing. That's a history book thing. But how his reputation is, we all know what reputation is and how easy it is to lose it.
And I think he covers it that more above all else. That's what I think. I think his reputation is more important than anything in the world to him. And how people view him, he loves being, considered the best to ever do it, and all that comes with it. You can see him. He loves the adulation and the glory and the all that comes with being, thought of as the best head coach to ever coach the game, because that's his life. That's his life, and he sees himself through the prism of football and how people view him as a football coach. And so his reputation as a football coach is, without question, in my opinion, more important than anything in his world to him. And so that reputation is under attack. He is under siege right now. And he can't control the narrative like he's always wanted to control what you think of him, Bob, what you think of him, Mike, maybe not with us, maybe not exactly what, but you know what I mean? The masses. He's always trying to control the narrative and what people are saying about him and shaping what, events so that it makes him look good. He's obsessed with that.
Okay.
Obsessed.
It's a great answer. I have a question for both of you. Under that guise of being obsessed with your reputation, pretend you're Bill Belichick right now. And I'm going to say, Bill, talk about your reputation. How do you account for the fact that you have a losing record for every team you've played for without Tom Brady? How do you answer that question, Bill, if you're so worried about your reputation?
Yeah.
Now, I hear that argument all the time. We all hear it all the time. The guy's got a losing record every place he's coached without Tom Brady. And it's not almost an unfair but that's what the argument is. Okay, Bill, how do you answer that, Bill?
Well, I'd love for him to have to answer that. It's because I don't know what he would say.
He said we're on to Cincinnati.
Shoot, he would. I would love for him to have to answer that question, but it's. What made why Tom was so important to Bill. It's not just that he was a great quarterback and the best ever play at that position. It was that Tom represented, like, the best player on Belichick's team took his crappy deals, took his hard coaching, took his sometimes his abuse of power, because Bill can abuse his power all the time with players, and take it and take it and take it and still show up and still buy in and still put on a happy face and represent the organization the way Bill wants him to represent, and be the team player, even though he's getting paid well below market value contracts, even though he's being treated like everyone else. Tom was addicted to the winning and all the things that came with winning, so he put up with that. When the best player on your team is treated that way, everyone else falls in line. It's like, well, Tom Brady's he's not even a top 10 highest paid quarterbacks in the league. Why should I, even though you're a top 5 linebacker, why should I pay you that when Tom doesn't do that? And if you cared about winning, you would sign this deal. And so Tom being on the team and accepting those crappy deals and accepting that hard coaching and dealing with Bill in a way that it's very difficult for people to deal with. He set the tone. The ecosystem that I call when Tom was here, it worked because the best player on the team would shovel dog shit for Bill, and so everyone else did too, because everyone wants to win, and you knew with Tom as your quarterback.
So Tom validated Bill's perception. Tom validated what Bill felt was the coach-player relationship.
Correct. Yes, sir. No, sir. Whatever you say, sir. This is what you think I'm worth. Okay, I won't ask for a penny more, sir. Chain of command, all that.
So Bill felt empowered by having Tom on his team.
Oh yeah, yep. And when the best players is taking what you're selling, then you have what you had for 20 years, which is everyone's going to buy in when the best player does. And you take that player out of the ecosystem, who's that guy now? He was hoping he would be
back to Phil session, for crying out loud. This is good.
But that's Bill's. It's a study in psychology, really. It's because he's got such a personality, that is so different than any other coaches, that it's hard not to kind of go that way, Bob. Right? I mean, and look at him from a psychological standpoint.
You look at Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Look at that relationship.
It's an awesome relationship. Have you ever met Andy Reid? He's awesome.
But it's a world of difference. Isn't it? It's a world of difference.
And you know what? Look, you know what I would want to do? I'd want to play hard for him. Like Parcells. I'll be honest. Parcells didn't have the football acumen that Belichick had. But boy, did you want to play hard for him. I would run through a wall for him, because he had an emotional investment in his player. Football's hard, man. It's just physically, and it's draining, and it's 90% thankless hard work, and just thankless work for 10% reward. And that 10% reward is intoxicating. It's a rush when you have a good game and you have success. It makes all that other stuff worth it. But if you don't get that little bit of reward at the end for all that work, it makes it very difficult to come to work every single day and put up with that. It's not easy.
Why didn't Robert Kraft see that in Parcells?
Well, because Parcells wasn't playing ball, right? Mike, Mike might have a better answer. I mean, I think, I don't know. You just, Robert wanted to take his football team he wanted to be something more than just, play guys playing football. He wanted to turn guys into, business partners and get them involved in other things. And Parcells didn't like that Kraft wanted that for his football team. And so you had the breakup, You got
to let him buy the groceries.
Yeah.
One of the great lines of all time.
It is.
One of the great lines of all time. So has Bill, now I remember when they won the Super Bowl when they were 0-2, I want to say it was in Houston, actually. You guys were in Houston. That's when Belichick came out and flipped the bird to, what's his name, linebacker from Denver, Jackson. Tom Jackson, remember?
Oh, yeah.
After the game, because he said right around at this stage of the season that Belichick had lost the locker room. Mm-hmm. He lost the team. And Belichick never forgot that.
Oh,
So are we at that stage yet? Are we very, very close, or have we gone past it?
I think we've gone past it. I think we've gone past it. And so, and the thing that Tom Jackson, he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. The problem is when you start winning, it makes Tom Jackson look silly, right? I mean, it's like, okay, what does he know? But if we continued on the losing path, Tom Jackson would have been absolutely right. It just changed for us right then and there. I mean, we started 0-2, and then we were 1-3, and then we started winning. Tom comes in, and so now, okay. But if Tom doesn't come in, maybe perhaps Tom Jackson, what he said was absolutely 100% correct. But fast forwarding to now, Mike, here's the thing: the makeup of this roster. The guys that were on that 0-1 team that started off 0-2 that Tom Jackson was talking about, there's Hall of Famers on that team. There were legit pillars on that defense and even on that offense with I know Bledsoe wasn't, he got beat out by Tom, but Troy Brown was on that side, and then all the stalwarts we had on defense. There were 7 guys on that 2001 team that were on that 96 team that went to the Super Bowl. So there was a good foundation of players on that team. What does this year's team have? This year, I mean, Belichick can't they draft a guy, they don't re-sign him. I mean, the last guy they signed to a second contract that they drafted in recent years is Jake Bailey, the punter, and then he got cut not even a year into that second contract. So the point is, there's no carryover, there's no foundation, there's no core, and there's no one carrying the flag for Bill. Like, it's like, come on, Bill knows what hey, Bill's a good coach. Trust me. Come on. Everybody's like, yeah, whatever. Sorry. No offense to Matthew Slater, but Matthew Slater is a gunner. No offense to David Andrews, but he's a center. No offense to Hunter Henry, who's all these guys that they put out there to talk to the media. Hunter Henry got here, a couple years ago and was paid a lot of money to, no offense to Dedrick Wise. Okay. I'm sure he's a great guy, good player, but he's a backup defensive tackle and he's your captain. So those are the guys that are holding it up. And no offense to those guys, but it's not the same as it was when I was playing and we were going through issues. It's totally different. And so the makeup of this team, you got a lot of hired, independent contractors, hired mercenaries that weren't here in the past, don't have that championship pedigree, don't care. They weren't here when Bill Belichick was in his heyday. And so you don't have guys that are buying into the Patriot way, buying into what Bill wants. It's like guys are coming in here and let me get my money and get the hell out of here. And that's what you see on this team. And you can't win consistently when you have the roster construction the way it is. Guys aren't staying here very long. Guys aren't signing second contracts. Guys aren't doing hometown discounts anymore. And you have to go, you have to go out and you get guys in free agency. And the only reason you'll get them is because you paid more than anybody else would. That doesn't make for a real team, in my opinion.
What kind of relationship do ex players have with Bill Belichick in general? I know your situation, but let's just say in general, what is there a relationship between ex players and Bill Belichick?
Not that I know of. I'll be honest with you. Not that I don't know.
You see Adam Vinatieri coming back here and giving hugs to you?
Yeah, I know. Right? No, I don't. So look, I think the relationship that guys have with Bill, it's really guys want to have a relationship with the Patriots. Guys want to be invited back. Guys want to be invited, behind the velvet rope, so to speak. And so a lot of guys, I don't think you don't hear an unfiltered commentary or real thoughts from a lot of former players. I'll be honest. They're scared of what they'll say, and the Patriots do a great job of, hey, look, if you say anything bad about us, you don't get invited back. You don't get any perks for being a former player and get tickets to games or are brought back to be celebrated. And so guys know that, and so they're terrified to really say, I think, honestly, how they really feel, because they still want to feel like they can come back at any time and not have any problems. And so if you're critical of Bill, because here's the thing, at the end of the day, guys, Bill Belichick thinks he is the Patriots. He's not an employee of the Patriots. He's not just a guy you hired to coach the team. In Bill's mind, he is the Patriots. Like, it's and so if you go against Bill, you're going against the Patriots. And you say anything wrong about Bill, it's you will find out that he is the Patriots. That's how he's created it. That's what he's always wanted. That's why I always laughed. I just couldn't believe it. Like, Bill wants to leave here with it better than when he found it. And so he wants to have a succession plan with his guys. What? Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's ridiculous. I mean, so Robert Kraft basically has given this power to Bill, and Bill, in his mind at least, thinks he is the Patriots. And so that's the scary thing. And so guys are terrified of saying really what they really think because of the fact that you won't be allowed to come back. You won't be invited. You won't be welcomed back. And so I don't think any relationship that Bill has with former players is superficial anyway, and it's mutually beneficial. Really, it's more of a professional relationship than it is of any real relationship. And I made comments when I retired that I felt strongly then, and I'm not saying I don't think I feel that much different now. Is that when Bill goes into the Hall of Fame, how many of his former players are going to be there to watch him go in? If they're there, they're probably getting paid. I can't imagine a lot of guys really wanting to go and support that. That to me would be an indication of how guys really felt about Bill.
Wow. Let me think of one of our sponsors here, the great George Gray. If you're thinking about a new car, go where Lobel and Lynch go. Go see our good friend George Gray, the big wheel at George Gray's Lexington Toyota. We've been customers for years because we know that George Gray will treat you right. He'll treat you better than maybe some people in the Patriots will. They're a family-owned and operated dealership that Lobie and I trust, and you can trust as well. Go see the big wheel, the great George Gray at Lexington Toyota, 409 Mass Ave in Lexington. George is a big sports fan. He'll probably talk as much about your oil change as you will about the record of the Patriots and what kind of year the Bruins and Celtics are going to have. But you will not go wrong going to George Gray's Lexington Toyota.
Best service available, best around. Anyway, Ted, you've done a fantastic job today. I'm really glad we were able to have you on.
Are you kidding me? My girlfriend's in the next room. I said I'm on with a couple of legends, Mike Lynch and Bob Lobel, and she couldn't believe it. You guys are
right, because she said, "Who are those guys?" That's why she couldn't believe it.
Are you kidding?
Why would you waste your time with them, Ted?
Not the case. She was like, she thought it was awesome. The point is, you guys are awesome, and I've always enjoyed, you guys covering me. And you're good dudes in the business, and I can't say that for everybody. So, you ever need me, you call me. I'm always happy to come on with you guys.
Well, you're great. You and I have had a special relationship over the years, and I've really enjoyed it and learned from it. And I think I've learned as much as I learned today. Today was a damn good college classroom session for me.
Well, you guys will bring it out of me. It's so you guys just opened me up, I was pouring it all out to you guys, and I wanted to do that with you guys, and so I just think you guys are the best. And there's my girlfriend over there.
Hey, what's her name? Bring her in.
Yeah, she's impressed with you guys. So
camera shy. Huh? Well, that's great. Is that a Middlebury sweatshirt?
It is. I'm excited to say, I'm very proud to say that my son Charlie, who's a senior in high school, is committed to play soccer at Middlebury next year.
Cool.
Wow.
So, wow. I'm very proud of him. It's a tremendous school. You guys, I'm sure you know about it.
Yeah.
The kid's got a brain on him. He's a big brain on my son Charlie, and so he's going to go, be a great student and play soccer up there.
Great school. It's great school. Great state.
Yep.
Awesome. Well,
Good
Ted,
job.
thanks so much. Ted Johnson, boy, you're definitely going to, we would love to call you back. Come on sometime.
Anytime, guys. Good to see you, Mike, Bob.
All right.
You guys are the best, all right?
All right, TJ, we'll be in touch. Thanks.
And folks, don't forget to follow us on unanchoredboston.com.
See you.